sorry to do this to you and take away from the episode, but let's just take a quick pause so that I can ask you one question. Where do you need help improving your photography practice? Do you need help crafting better emails? Do you need help telling a better story with your images? I don't know, maybe it's something entirely different. Aaron and I are offering free, one-time only 30-minute one-on-one video sessions to help you with your specific photography and creative goals. We say this all the time on the show. We're not gurus and we're constantly learning ourselves. However, we do have experience and a track record of figuring things out in this industry, and we're confident that we can help you fast track your learning. So if you're benefiting from the general concepts of these episodes, but you want advice and guidance specifically tailored to your unique needs, you can click the link in the episode description to book a one-on-one, one-time 30-minute virtual session entirely for free. Zero cost, you book it at your convenience, and you get 30 minutes of either mine or Aaron's uninterrupted time. You can use the code FREETRIAL, that's free trial spelled FREETRIAL, at checkout. And now we can get back to today's episode.
All right, Seth, get us going.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Photographer Mindset Podcast. I'm your co-host, Seth Macy.
I'm your co-host, Aaron Manis.
And we have Nooch on again. What a drag. I'm just kidding. Nooch is wonderful. Nooch is wonderful. We talked to him, what, 2 years ago? Year ago?
Year and a half?
Last time? And you had just been at Radio City. You had just gotten hooked up with Goose, a band that many people listening will know. And I'm sure knowing you, where you've gone with that is probably tenfold now, just because you're a crazy type A maniac. And you're very good at what you do, though. Aaron's also told me, and
Thank you.
You've posted on your story the once a year that you do. That you're in Churchill, which is cool. I don't know how you managed to get yourself there on assignment, but if there's someone who will find a way, it is Mike Nucciarino at Nuch10. We're all good friends and glad to have you back, man. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. It's been a while, and I do like coming on and talking to you guys.
Your beard is insane, though. We before we clicked record, we're like, is it going to be a waxed mustache and just a clean chin, or are you going to be mopping the floor?
I am mopping the floor.
It's impressive.
I'm like 3 weeks away from having the longest beard I've ever had.
Yeah, I've never seen it longer.
What happens when that happens? Does something occur?
I hope something. Yeah, it's like having an eclipse of some sort. It's an eclipse of my neck.
Yeah, it just disappears forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think something happens with like growth hormone if your body senses it's getting too close to the floor, like you sprout up a bit?
Maybe. We'll see. I'll let you know. I'm not planning on shaving anytime soon, so.
Yeah, no shave November. You can't
no shave November. No way.
Perfect timing. Well, this banter is all incredible. Aaron, what do you have in mind for today?
Yeah, so Seth, I got to say the last maybe 3 or 4 episodes, we've been on somewhat of a tear in terms of really digging deep into the why and how to be successful in this genre, in this niche of photography or videography or creating content for companies or anything that you want to be. And last week we were talking about some of the, I feel like the chasing of the dragon in the social media land. And it started to make me think of a certain thing. And I wrote down some thoughts and I'm just going to read those out if we all could be patient. But in writing this, I was like, I need to have Nooch on because he is the quintessential example of being a savage. And I'm gonna stop there and read my thoughts, and I think it'll take off into a conversation. I'm hoping that I think motivates people and gets them thinking and looking at this in maybe a different way. So without further ado, here I go. As corny as this is, it's all here, and my thoughts are on a page, and it's just easier to go through it, and then we'll get into it. All right,
and we'll see if Mike blushes behind that great beard of his.
You won't be able to tell.
You won't be able to tell at all. All right. Yeah. So Here we go. I want to talk about the power of being a savage in a world full of distractions. We live in an era where self-indulgence often takes center stage. Social media feeds are overflowing with people chasing likes, shares, and fleeting fame. If I see one more public admission of taking down a reel because it wasn't getting enough engagement, I might throw my phone against the wall. While everyone is busy curating their online personas, you have the opportunity to rise above the noise and make real moves towards success. Let's face it, it's easy to be a savage today. It doesn't require a special talent or an extravagant lifestyle. What it requires is focus, discipline, and a relentless drive to pursue your goals. While others are caught in the cycle of validation through social media, you can be actually working on your craft. You can invest your time into mastering skills, building networks, and creating value that lasts. Being a savage means prioritizing action over applause. It means choosing late nights of grinding over late nights of scrolling through feeds. While people are busy posting copycat, trending, uncreative crap, you're the one putting in the hours to turn your dreams into reality. It's not about the number of followers you have, it's about the impact you create and the legacy you leave behind. Imagine this. While others are chasing momentary fame, you're focused on building something substantial. You're making moves that will set you apart from the crowd. The hustle is real and it's rewarding. The path to success is not paved with likes and shares. It's paved with hard work, persistence, and a savage mentality that pushes you forward when others falter. In this digital age, the noise can be overwhelming, but you have the power to tune it out. Take advantage of the distractions around you. While people are scrolling, you could be learning, creating, innovating. Be the one who stands out, not because of a flashy post, but because of the quality and substance of what you produce. So I challenge you, embrace the savage mindset, dedicate yourself to your craft, outwork your competition, and invest in yourself. Let others chase fame and numbers. You chase excellence. Use this time to refine your skills and strengthen your resolve. The world needs those who are willing to put in the work, who aren't afraid to be different, and who understand that true success doesn't come from a screen, but from a relentless effort and determination. So to conclude, being a savage is about embracing the grind. It's about knowing that while others are distracted, you're laying the foundation for your future. So rise above the noise, stay focused, and let your actions speak louder than any post ever could. Be a savage in everything you do, and watch as success follows. So Mike Nucciarino, Nooch 10 as we know him, what does being a savage mean to you?
That was really well written. I like that.
I bet you it wasn't AI either.
It wasn't.
Could have been, maybe.
Could have been.
But
it wasn't.
You've been attacking me for a lot of AI generation lately on social media.
I have?
No, Aaron has. He's been all over me.
Because his photos are so good. It started with that amazing at Wadsworth.
Bridge.
Yeah, the bridge at Wadsworth with a perfectly placed, or Letchworth, with a perfectly placed hot air balloon. And I just went off on, it's really hard to,
came at me.
I'm gonna keep it going.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what you said. It was funny. Like, I was at dinner the other night, and there was a photographer at the restaurant, and I don't know what the hell he was shooting. I really couldn't figure it out. But he sat down next to me, and I was like, "Hey, he was shooting a Sony A7R4 or something like that." And we started talking cameras and tech. I was like, "Oh, what are you on social media, on Instagram?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't have an Instagram." Which to me is just like, what are you doing then? I firmly believe that you need to have Instagram if you're a photographer or a videographer and you want to play in the game. Maybe you were able to overcome that with other means, and that's great, but I can't. I mean, my whole existence was very dependent, and where I am right now, on Instagram and utilizing that properly. For me, and properly obviously is subjective too, but for me, and the way I see it is, if you're not using Instagram as a portfolio and a way to connect with other people, then you're not playing the game. I do not care about likes. I don't think follows matter at all. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is that you have consistent, good content that people somewhat react to. It doesn't matter like bots. It doesn't matter complete strangers. What matters is it's almost treat it like a group text with a lot of your friends. And as long as people are seeing it and your friends think that you're getting a little bit of feedback from your friends and you know you're on the right path because people are really into it, but also you're doing it because it's what you want to do, then I feel like you've hit like a nice happy medium. Again, I couldn't care less if I get 30 likes on a post. That to me doesn't do anything. It's you know, the next time I see a buddy, they're like, "Holy smokes, that image of that squirrel," or you know, and it's squirrels for me. I post like squirrels. I post birds. I post, you know, it's nothing like earth shattering. I'm not really out there getting crazy animals here. Well, I wasn't for a long time, but it's just, is your style there? Can you apply it? And is it repeatable? And then taking that, you know, I never thought I'd make a dime with animals. And that was the passion for even all of us, right? It was the landscapes, it was being out in nature, and it's the animals. But the link is when you actually apply yourself and put yourself out there. And it's not the networking on social media. It's having that engagement and that feedback and being a part of a little bit of a community and being consistent with that and having a good portfolio. When you go into the real world and start talking to people and applying your craft to different situations, whether it's Airbnb or it's bands or it's you know, just content for a company, they see the animals and they're like, wow, I really like those animals. Can you do X? You know, can you take my product and make it look as good as the animals? And so you wind up going down that path. And so it's not that I'm making, you know, you don't make money or you don't create a living or whatever through your passion usually, but you can kind of leverage that quality and that repeatability into something else that can generate revenue for you. And then, you know, and then anything can happen. Literally anything can happen from there. Once you develop a little bit of a little momentum in the revenue generating arena, I feel like there's just this, I don't know, maybe you guys would want to comment to that, but it feels like you're on a little bit of a treadmill and it's like it's moving you whether you want to move or not. And it's like things start happening whether you're putting work into it or not. Even sometimes you just do a few gigs and then a little word of mouth spreads and all of a sudden people are like calling you and reaching out to you. And it's like, this is weird. Like I haven't really marketed myself or pushed myself that much. I maybe got the ball rolling, but then there was a certain amount of momentum at some point that kind of took over. And not that you don't stop working and not that you don't stop, you know, grinding, but things start coming and you're just like, oh, I didn't expect that. And next thing you know, you're doing some really crazy things.
Yeah, I mean, just watching your story unfold from the sidelines as well, like it's clear. I think there's a part that the audience probably doesn't really grasp or know because they don't know you. And I'll share this so you don't have to brag about yourself, but Mike truly is like there's nothing that would get in his way of a shoot or creating an image. Like it doesn't matter if he had to be up for 48 hours straight. It doesn't matter if he had to hike 20 miles to get to a spot. It doesn't matter if like you can make up any sort of scenario. He is willing to, I think, go that extra step. And for a lot of sweat equity, especially in the beginning, where it was like, there's no, I deserve anything. It was more like, I'm going to go take it. And I think that's a mentality. And that's kind of what I'm talking about is like, I think a lot of people tend to wait for the phone calls, wait for the amazing opportunity that might come up versus like, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go pitch something. And if they say no, I'm going to do it freaking anyway. Like that's how it started with Goose. Like the manager said, no, thanks. We're good. And you're like, well, I'm going to sneak in my camera. And that move, that determination started a whole chain of things.
Yeah, I agree with that. And maybe just to clarify what I said before, it's not that things just come easy. It's that you're putting in the sweat equity the entire time. And while you're grinding at your passion, other avenues open themselves up to you that you didn't see as an option prior to that. And that's where it starts to feel a little like, whoa, this is weird. Like, not that it's coming easy, but it's just like, I didn't realize once I walked through the door that there were other doors, that type of surprise. As far as grinding, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask. So it seems like you're more someone who goes in with the mentality of, on a project, I'm going to do a really good job at this particular shoot just because I want to, and I'm going to see what comes of it and seize those opportunities, as opposed to being much more calculative in the sense of, okay, if I do this, it will lead to that, and then that will lead to this. Like, it seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the focus is doing a really, really bang up job on the task at hand, and whatever happens, happens. I'll walk through doors as they appear, versus outlining your near-term future with calculative moves.
I think what's important is to take your passion, whatever subject that is, and go all in. And don't treat it as a trend, and don't get discouraged by social media. Keep that and become a monster at it. Treat it as a game. Do whatever you have to do to keep your interest. Give yourself little challenges, have little tasks, but try your best to dominate your passion. So pick whatever passion it is and just go all in. After you do that, people see that you're a maniac, and they'll see that you're obsessive, and most people can connect the dots. Most people can say, "Holy smokes! Like, you're inches away from a fox or a bear." Not like really inches away, but like these pictures, we all have like professional lenses. We can get like into these critter spaces.
Hot dogs out here.
Yeah, no, I'm not. No hot dogs. Sorry, but you know what I'm saying. We all have 600 millimeter lenses. We can get right in the faces of these animals ethically, and it takes a lot to get a good portrait of a fox or an owl, or take your pick of a somewhat scarce, elusive animal. And I don't think most people out of the box could accomplish that task. Forget about the technical aptitude of taking a picture and setting a composition and all that stuff, but just like put yourself in a position to even see an animal like that. And I think most people can say, "Whoa, that's crazy. How did you do that?" It almost feels like when I see like a really amazing guitar player play, it's like a magic trick. Like, how did you do that? That's incredible. I would love to do that, but I don't even know where to start, Mm-hmm. And that's where you take your passion that you're absolutely driven for. Maybe you just have, you love animals and you never really went out there and tried to discover where they live and how they live and what that is all about. Do some research on YouTube and figure out where these animals are, what their tendencies are, and go check it out. And then maybe you'll want to start bringing a camera with you, and then all of a sudden you're hooked, right? And then once you're hooked, stick with it. And don't give up and don't get discouraged. Give yourself new tasks to like keep the interest going. And that will resonate with people. Someone's going to see that and be like, "Damn, that's wild. Like, cool. I have this basketball. Could you take a picture of this basketball for me? I need a basketball. I need a picture of this for my website. Can you make it look like that crazy picture of that squirrel that you took the other day?"
Here's where I want to interject, though, because we've done a few episodes where, and I'm excited for you to provide the counter argument to this. So we've done a few episodes. Speaking personally, like I'm trying to rebrand to more of like an outdoors person, because I've posted only wildlife for so long, and I don't want to be just wildlife guy anymore, because I have other passions and interests beyond, like, I just like being outside. So part of what we've talked about recently is that there's the potential to lose opportunities from people who stumble upon your page and say, oh, he's great, but it's only wildlife. For potential people who can't envision that particular photographer who's really good at taking pictures of bears and wolves and raccoons and translating it to, in your example, good basketball photos for their website. So I'm curious how you've bridged that gap. Like, how are you able to allow potential clients to envision you performing product photography, concert photography at the highest level when you're taking pictures of squirrels, turtles, and those things?
I'll be careful with never. I don't remember ever doing a gig that I wasn't the aggressor.
Right.
And I took, if I'm into the thing, then I take the thing and I do something with it. Then I give them a taste, and I don't remember being turned down very often once I give them a taste. Not to be cocky, but just that's been the formula.
Because you're good outside of your genre of what you post. You post wildlife, but you are talented outside of that. I think, to Aaron's point, it's that you go out and firsthand show people that you are capable. Whereas you wouldn't have that success if you just sat back, continued to post wildlife, and hope that the person who needs photos of their basketball realizes that you would be good at that also.
That's an insane way of going about it. I think that is a lazy way of going about it, and I'm sorry if that is someone's strategy and it works for them, but in my opinion, like, in my mind, that is not even, like, that's not an option. Like, I would never wait for someone to come to me. Like, I would never just sit at home and be like, well, I posted a really cool squirrel shot the other day, and someone's got to see that and be like, dude, I need this fucking guy. Like, that is just not, There's
got to be an almond company out there.
Yeah, that's not in my brain.
I just wanted to clarify, like, make it clear as day that that's not what you're saying. That if you dig 120% into your craft really well, that you will be discovered and people can envision you being good in a different genre for them commercially. That is not the case. You said, I am the aggressor. That's an important statement.
Yeah.
And again, social media, and I only use Instagram. I'm not on anything else, but Instagram is my portfolio, and most people are on there. So it works out really well to be like, hey, once you aggress and you make contact, it's nice. Like, websites are cool and like everything else, but everyone's on Instagram, and it's way easier to make that connection and show people your work through Instagram. I find.
So how are you then using the connections and your portfolio of mostly animals to then... I understand.
I'm giving them a taste.
I understand you're doing that.
Yeah.
And then when people go to check out your work and see that it's all wildlife, is there a disconnect?
I've not experienced
what's going on here, or what's been your experience?
It's been, oh wow, like, that's really cool stuff that you have there.
So you think it serves you in the sense that, oh wow, this guy can do tons of stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what the juice is behind it. I'm not like, I don't really think about the juice there.
It's just interesting to me because it would.
I don't really care. I'm going to go after the thing, and I'm going to do the thing, and it's, it is what it is. You either like it or you don't, and it doesn't hurt my feelings, and I move on immediately, or I don't, or I continue at them, and I'm just like, you know what, this person doesn't understand, but I really like their product, and I think it's strong. But I'm just going to have to, like, beat them over the head with a sledgehammer. And,
what does that look like?
It's just doing another project maybe, or, sending another email follow up after there's been a no. It rarely happens. It's not, I don't care that much about something to usually do that. But sometimes I'll be kind of obsessed with something and feel like, oh, I can do this. And, like, I have a vision and I want them to see this vision.
Yeah,
and actually, I don't even want them to see it. I really want to do it. Like, at this point, too, I'm not thinking about money. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm thinking about, damn, this would be really fun to do.
Mhm.
I want to do this, and I want to do it with you paying me to do it. Like, I don't want to pay for it, but I would really want to do this freaking thing, whatever, fill in the blank.
Yeah. So how much goes into those aggressor sort of reach outs where it's like, I don't want to, the balance between doing, a ton of free work versus I want to show them a concept and or a narrative or an idea. And we've worked together on many different things. And I think that avenue has been close to 100% successful. If we have a narrative, a storyline, and a sample, we've gotten the product ahead of time, or we own the product already, and we do something that we can show them, hey, there's a lot more where this came from. So I'm curious how much you save in the tank versus how much you're giving out, and or if they love it, are they buying it at that point? Like, what's for everyone listening, what is sort of your philosophy on that reach out phase of content?
I am very much a big proponent of internships. I think internships are incredibly important for the potential employer and employee. I think it benefits both parties tremendously to do an unpaid internship. I think from the employee's perspective, potential employees' perspective, you have the ability to see the culture of wherever you're going to go or whatever you're going to work with before making a commitment. So if there's people that you're going to be dealing with that are toxic and you don't want to deal with them, you're not committed to it. If they're going to be not paying you properly, or they're going to like tell you one thing, go another way, or just be very difficult when it comes to revision time. And this is all things that you're able to evaluate before you're committed, before there's money involved. And it's more like a courting before, needing to get married. I think it's very important. And then from the employer's perspective, you get to see if the person's a bum. And that's your time to shine and show them that you're not a bum. So I've gotten most of my jobs, my engineering career. I'm an engineer. I was an unpaid intern for a year getting college credit at the place that I've now been at for 20 years. And then I've been on the other end and have brought in interns and been able to evaluate before we have to commit to someone who, potentially wasn't going to work out.
I'd love to interview them.
I take that. Yeah, right.
Mike's interns.
Yeah.
Good God. Average workspace, 4 days.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say something, but I'll digress. Yeah. So I applied that philosophy to what I do with videography and photography. I think it is important to give people a little bit of a taste. It breaks down the barriers of, especially the animal thing. I don't make it easy for people. I'll give them that. If you think you have a machine shop and you manufacture things, and I'm a drone pilot as well, and you want me to come in and make a video and all I have to show you are animal pictures, not the easiest thing to sell. So I don't mind going in and doing a quick little demo and showing them, hey, this is the vibe that you'll get off of bringing me in. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I do have a website now, and there you can have certain videos and other things that you're proud of on there to kind of direct people to. But I would have no problem going in and doing a quick dry run and giving them a quick example of like, hey, this is, I'm thinking we could start here, we go here. Aaron and I would, when we do projects, we always make storyboards and then present those storyboards to the client before we come anywhere near, going out and executing an actual project for money. Getting that signed off, very important. I don't know if I answered your question. I have no idea what the hell.
Yeah, internships, sweat equity. Yeah. I think it's. Yeah. Mike and I are similar ages. I think it's something that is sort of there's an opinion around that. I don't know if tides have changed with the younger generations. I don't know if it's a older versus younger sort of thing, but I do think there is merit to it. There's merit to proving your way. It's kind of like, I don't know, we grew up with sports. There's a tryout before you make the team.
Yep.
There's an interview before you.
Yeah, some of these gigs are for a good chunk of change too. You want to make sure everyone's comfortable with what you're getting into before you get into it, and make sure expectations are met. So doing a little bit of work up front before you get into the thick of it, it's good for everyone involved. It brings peace of mind to you, knowing that you're going to deliver what the client ultimately wants. You don't want to go too far down the wrong way and then have to backtrack. So giving some sample work, creating storyboards, having some early conversations go a long way to making a project a success. That's for sure. And landing jobs at that point, even if you haven't landed the job yet and you're just sort of talking about a potential project. Having a storyboard that takes work, takes time, sweat equity, but it's worth it. And people see that you do that sort of thing, and like, oh, this guy's got it together. He's doing storyboards. He knows what he's doing, and it's another level of confidence.
There's probably a lot of people doing that stuff for free off the cuff.
I'm sure there aren't.
Which I think goes back to Aaron's monologue. I think, Aaron, one of the themes of your thing was that it's not difficult to be great in this day and age. I wonder, like, your thoughts on both of you, why that is.
Well, I think there's a lot of distractions there wasn't before.
I think it's just distractions.
A bit. Watching. I'm gonna be careful here because my son might listen to this. But watching his generation. Actually, let me take it away from him. Let me put it on. I work in a middle school for a long time. The shift in 20 years of the entitlement in terms of sports teams alone. Let's just go with sports alone, where you can now, in this day and age, pay to play a ton. AAU, I feel like, has ruined sports in the sense that it has become a business. It's really become a business. There's 5 travel teams for my son's age group within one league, let alone the other leagues that you want to play in. So in my day and age, there was one travel team. The best players made the travel team. Mm-hmm. Now everyone has a sense of, I made the travel team. I'm one of the best players in the town. It's not the case. Your parents paid for it. You're on team 4 out of 5 whole teams. Like you're not quite there. And then it catches up where there's like this sort of entitlement. And I saw it before. Now I'll go back to my son. Before he was on travel teams or soccer, obsessed with soccer ball on his foot all day long, up in the living room, kicking around, practicing, doing tricks, constant obsession with it, trying to get better. He made the team as a younger kid, the top travel team. And there's a shift. There's a shift that's like, well, okay, I'm one of the best players. I don't have to play anymore. Now couple that with, and he doesn't do this, but Minecraft or Fortnite or Snapchat or TikTok or YouTube or just 4 hours or 5 hours a day on social media, where if you practice for 2 of those hours at any skill, you would be an incredible soccer player or incredible guitarist, incredible photographer. If you dedicated the 2 hours that you were distracted by this aspect of life that we did not have growing up, I honestly think there is a difference there, because time is the one thing we can't change, how many hours there are in a day. And if you take away 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours every single day and put it to scrolling, what are you missing out on? And for the people that want to be savages, and they say, I'm going to practice basketball, or I'm going to practice soccer, I'm going to practice photography for 3 or 4 hours a day while most people are scrolling, then you are leapfrogging the competition.
Right.
And
by simply eliminating distractions.
Yeah. If you can live without it, it's kind of like everyone else is like in a zombie zone, and you're just flying through. You're just going. And if you don't slow down, if you keep up that pace, you will lap everyone.
I stopped watching sports.
Yeah,
It's funny.
huge time.
I get
used to watch
Sunday
Leafs
back.
games all the time, and now I just watch the 10-minute highlights.
Yeah. Yeah, I stopped watching football altogether. Sundays, that was an extra day to go shoot. If you think about it, you have a weekend. You have 2 days really where you have full run of the day. And just Sunday was a dead day. And somewhere around COVID, I maybe just before COVID, I'd already been like kind of done with sports, but like when I realized that I could be out shooting and there's no one out because they're all watching football, that was like, oh my goodness, how have I not been taking this back? How did I not take this back sooner?
Do you guys ever feel that's a weird feeling? It's almost like, haha, I'm out here and nobody else is. It's like it's sort of egotistical, but it feels good at the same time. I don't really know.
I won't go anywhere. I won't go somewhere if there's people there.
I hear you, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like, why do we relish in that? Haha, I'm the only one out here.
It's how I recharge. For me personally, I deal with people all week and I need to get away. And being in the woods is how I recharge and clear my head and like work on breathing techniques. And you just try to like soak up the sounds and the smells.
I hear you.
If there's a human there, I'm out.
I get it. I understand that. But is there a part of you at all where you feel good about yourself because you're doing something that most people won't? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you ever get that?
Like if you're running out in the pouring rain.
Well, what you just described there, you were just talking about how you will lap people. You will be so much further ahead. Like that's very much phrased as a competition. Like, is life a competition here against other people, or is what you just said, you'll lap people? Is that just a consequence of you improving yourself at your own rate?
Yeah, it's the latter. And yes, it is a bit of a competition. I mean, it is. It doesn't have to be if you don't want it to be, but you won't win. And
no one will understand how your productivity is so high when you're able to output so much more than someone else. And they're wondering how are you able to accomplish all this? Well, I don't really sit on my phone very often. I don't watch television. I'm grinding probably more than most people. I think it comes down to that. And so my output can be higher. And when you're actually consistently doing work for someone, they see that and they're like, well, it's not like generally you're not the only content creator for somebody. You got other people. So people can A/B that very easily. Like your employers, the client can A/B your work ethic to someone else's very, very easily. It's like, oh, this guy gives me 20 pictures and this guy gives me 75 pictures. But this guy's 75 pictures are all pretty much the same shot. And like this guy, I'm actually getting way more usage out of this guy for only 30 pictures, but they're like different angles and he's more creative with them. And, I like his aesthetic more. It's just like you can look at it all different ways. But no matter what, if you're then delivering yours 4 hours ahead of the next guy, like it's 4 hours ahead and I like it better because he like crushes or I just like his aesthetic or whatever the reason is, the A/B is there.
So my point is like that is in your mind somewhere.
It's not in my mind, it's a reality. It's not. I don't ever think about that. I just do me. I'm not going out of my way. I'm just doing what I do.
If you do those things that you will beat your competition, likely. I guess. Okay. So I guess the mindset is that I'm not thinking in those terms. That's just overdoing this for so long. I see it. I just see it. I'm not thinking about it. It's just like I only work with one gear. I don't like switch gears. I'm not just like, oh, this job is really like not as interesting to me. So I'm going to like cash it in. I'm just like, if I'm doing a project, it better be something I like care about, I'm passionate about. Like, I don't want to waste my time doing something I don't give a shit about. Like, I'm not going to ever shoot a wedding. And no offense to wedding people, it's just not for me. Like, I'll never do that. And it's not that I can't do it. It's just, it's not in my wheelhouse of something like I can handle. I don't like being around
people like that, and like
Right.
it have to be like dressed up and like just it's the whole thing just as a
Have to
turn
shave
off
the
to me.
beard. No, I'm
Right,
glad.
and I have to shave the
It's fine
beard,
with
you
me.
know, like but if I'm in my zone and I'm doing the thing that I love doing, then I'm just doing it. I'm not like consciously thinking about this, but it does shake out that way. You get
Right.
AB. I mean, you can't not think about that, but I'm
Where
not going to do something different for
I
it.
love your response though. Like I love that. And before you say your thing, Aaron, I know Mike has one gear and most people aren't like you, but that way of thinking is a good place to get to. I know like how automatic that is for you, that just like thought process, but I feel like it's a working process for that to be normal for people. So like I'm glad that we've kind of had this 5 minutes here, because those are some great responses and great mentality.
Here, you know, people. One thing I'll add to this is something that people are absolutely like. They think I'm out of my mind, maniac. I will do a job on a Sunday, 8 hours away, and end the job at midnight and drive home, so that I can go and do my engineering gig in the morning. I will roll right into my parking lot at the engineering gig and not take a day off of work to blow that day, because my time is that precious. There's no like, I would never consider taking a day off of work because I'm tired, because I did a huge shoot the weekend before. Like that's not happened once.
Well, this is important for people to know what they're up against. They're up against people like you.
That's I do that, and people are like very nervous, and I make everyone very nervous, and it's just like I have a routine. I have I'm as safe as I can be, but I will power through and
Red Bull and podcasts.
Absolutely.
I'm curious if we can dig into this just a bit, because it is, Seth, you just said it. It's what you're up against. It's what you're up against in the athletic world, the financial world, the business world, musical world. We've said it before. There's tons and tons of talented people that have a ton of skill, but are missing the engine. Like they don't have the motor, and the motor's not necessarily fun. Like I'm listening to that and I don't have that motor. If I'm working at a job till midnight, there is 0% chance that I'm driving home or finishing the edits until 4 a.m. to get them done. And I have a pretty good motor. I think people that know me would be like, he's got a good motor. He's balancing a lot and doing a lot. It's nowhere close to the competition that's out there. And not that everything is a competition, but it is. If you want to make strides, if you need to know at least what the competition is, what the competition's willing to do, so you can at least adjust. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be dangerous or not sleep or whatever, but you have to know that's out there. And if if it's you and another photographer at a concert, I'd really like, how do I get my photos in first? Because they might post all of my photos and be done with it and move on to the next show in the tour, while someone else is getting 6 hours of shut eye, and they're going to edit in the morning, and that post about the show is already done. So, hey, thanks for the photos. Nice job. See you around. But they're like, wow, this other guy hands them in real quick. That's nice. That's a nice feature. Mm-hmm. And who are they going to rehire next time? If that's just the status quo of how he operates or someone operates. But I'm curious, there's one aspect of knowing Mike pretty well over the last 5 years that has always surprised me. And he keeps things very close to the vest for a very long period of time. He does not showboat about attention or needing people to know how good he is at all. Like no one probably knows on social media, Mike's an unbelievable guitarist, not to blow your spot, but an unbelievable guitarist. He's not throwing that out there. The band that he works with, I think to this day, almost had no idea for years that he could even touch a guitar. And there was like little aspects where he would like, no, that's in the key of G. And people would be like, what? Like just out of the blue, because he's a musician, but he keeps these things close. So my circumvented question is that a humble thing, or is that a negative self-talk that drives you? That's like, is there something that's like, I fear that I will be judged, or I suck, or anything, not to put you on the spot, but like I need to go 1,000% because I'll beat myself up if I don't?
I talked to Dave Sanford 3 years ago because he's known for 3 pretty significant disciplines. He's got his wave thing, he's got the shark thing, and the NHL thing. And I was like, how do you determine what you're keeping separate? Because like you're pretty much only showing the wildlife thing. Like I don't see any NHL stuff really coming out of you very often. Like, how do you balance all of this stuff? And he was like, and it was funny because as soon as I like started talking to him and like asked him that question, in my head I had made up my mind as the route that I wanted to go. But his response was, well, the NHL owns the images, so I can't really post those. And, the wave thing is, he said, the wave thing was popular and he had his own website for that. And he likes to just keep things separate. And before I even asked him, I was like, I want to keep things separate. And I like my animals. That's my like, that's my reboot, and I feel like that at my core is the thing that I have the most control over of all the work that I do. I don't have access to the band 24/7. I can go out into the woods anytime I like, and I can 100% pour myself into that discipline. So in thinking of that, that's the thing that I want to put out to the world. I feel like that's my best work because that's the thing that resonates with me, and that's the thing I have 100%. I'm saying 100% control over it because I can go out and do the thing anytime I want. I can't go out and do the other things anytime I want. So I can't really hone that discipline. So I feel like if I was put on the spot and I had to like present my best self, it would wind up probably being the animals. So then that means that the other stuff, not that it's not up to par or not up to snuff or I don't pour myself into it, but like I feel like that is my strongest asset. Is there's a lot behind it. There shows, with the animals, you're showing someone, if they're really thinking about it, you're showing them that you have patience. You're showing them that you have some sort of fundamental understanding of animals and how to put yourself in a particular situation. And then you're showing people your compositions and your technical aptitude with the discipline. So why mix that up with other shit then? That I did a great thing for this company, but like it was probably done in a weekend, and like we even have these talks after, like we'll do a shoot, Aaron, you and I, and after the shoot we'll just be like, oh man, this could have been, we feel good on the whole about it, but it was like, oh, this little thing or that little thing or this little thing or that little thing. Well, I just compartmentalize that for the next time I go out with the animals, and I get, I try to get that next incremental thing, and no one sees that. I'm not presenting something I don't like. It's an opportunity to only present my strongest stuff, I feel. So I'm going to just leave it at that. So if it's, I don't flash the band stuff because I don't know. It just feels like I want that to be an animal page, and I'd have to manage another page if I was going to do the music thing, and same thing with like the corporate stuff that I do. And I don't want to manage more social media, and I want to just put more time into the shooting and getting more gigs and thinking of new projects. I don't want to manage all that data. I think you can get it done with a single page that really pushes your passion.
Now, in the last time we talked about your experience with Goose and how you aggressively made that happen. I don't want to go there necessarily, but I do find it interesting to go full circle to your passion is working hard. And I love this imagery where you say you go through one door and then there's 4 more. You go through those 4 doors, there's 8 more. And kind of like as you go through doors, more and more opportunities, networking start to happen. So recently you were commissioned to go to Churchill and take photos of polar bears. I'm curious if you can talk about like that dream came full circle, and it came from doing hard work no matter what avenue you are. It's kind of like the old adage, everyone's mom probably used to say it to them, like, make sure you do your best no matter what you're doing. Like, always do your best. And I think for you, we were laughing on the phone 2 weeks ago, like, dude, like, this is just so weird. Like, life's so weird that here I am now. So I'd love for you to kind of explain that sort of unfolding and the emotions behind it and the reality that now is a reality.
Sure. I'm going to back way up and start with being into landscapes, and spent a lot of time in the Alps and got a lot of very cool images in a lot of different locations. And I learned a lot about photography. I learned a lot about gear, having the right equipment, the right clothing for different situations. That was really where I kind of learned a lot about being outside with a camera. Then the pandemic hits and you can't travel anymore, and pivoted into animals. But that came with meeting Brett, you guys, and Adam Danny. And we started that community. And growing that community and meeting all the people that we did really gave me a more well-rounded understanding of what people do in this field. Different approaches. You got to see different styles. We did photo competitions, so you were literally able to A/B your work to a Nat Geo photographer. Like, it was just kind of a ridiculous time that was extremely beneficial to me personally. I soaked up every minute of that and met a lot of great contacts. Jenny, Brooke, you guys, we made a lot of good connects. Then living in that world for a while, just had my gear. I go shoot at, a state park all the time. And then this band that I like is playing a show there. Tried to get the gig, didn't work out, brought my stuff, took the pictures anyways. And then submitted them a few months later to them, and they liked the stuff. So I was going down to Texas. They let me shoot 4 shows. They liked my work. They liked me. We got along really great. And then that just kept going. That turns into like doing video work for them. And, I did video work before, but not to that level. And then it's like, okay, where are you backing up all this data? There's a lot of stuff. Where does it go? And they didn't really have anyone managing their data. So I was like, I can do that. And they gave it to me. And I'm, turned into an archivist from taking pictures, started with that, opened some doors. Now I control data. Then it's special projects, doing different special projects that, have nothing to do with photography, nothing to do with videography. Right in my wheelhouse, love it. Then, people, you're doing this thing over here and people see it that you're not engaging with directly. And the owner of Mountain Gazette, his magazine, is a huge Goose fan. And he liked my work and saw my wildlife and asked for a few shots that he could, maybe publish in his next edition. And he took like 8 or 9 images. I got the back cover and a bunch of full page in a beautiful, the magazine's sick. It's like 11 by 17 and portrait orientation. And, seeing your work in that large format is very special. And, people, that was me just putting it out there, and that's my animal stuff, that's kind of the stuff that I focus on. And he got a really good response out of his viewers, subscribers for that work, and asked me if I'd be interested in doing more stuff for him. And I was like, absolutely. And it was funny. We were at a Goose show, and there was an after party, and sit down at a table, and I'm just talking to a buddy of mine, and the guy to my left overheard me talking and heard me say, I'm from Buffalo or whatever. He's like, oh, I drive through Buffalo all the time on my way to the Adirondacks. I got a house out there. And we talked for an hour, and it turns out he was the owner of Mountain Gazette. We had never met face to face. We had no idea. So then we started talking, and one of the guys that works with him was there. He's like, dude, this is Nooch 10. Like, holy shit. Like, I can't believe he's, so weird. And so we just talked for like an hour after that. And he was like, we have to do another project together. And that was like a year ago. And I don't remember exactly. He just, we would see each other at Goose shows and hang out, and we had each other's numbers. So we'd text every now and then, and he was just like, all right, do it, pick something. And I was like, all right, had made this connect with Brooke and Jenny, and we did a fundraiser thing, raised some money for the Pebble Mine thing back when we were doing the community thing back in COVID. And we had the connect up in Discover Churchill. And I was like, that feels to me like polar bears is like what I want to do. Like, so I pitched it to him, and he was like, book it and do it. And just pretty amazing that I was able to
crazy
make that connect and be able to go and do that have that experience, which was absolutely incredible. And the people in Discover Churchill guides were so accommodating and really great people and very knowledgeable, and put me in situations to get great content. I was very fortunate, very lucky. And I was there for 4 days, and the fourth day almost like really didn't see anything. So I got very, very lucky, I guess I'd say, for the first 2 days. I really got a lot of strong content. The third day was a little less, but still quality stuff. And then the fourth day was just like, glad this wasn't the first day.
Shoot any video?
I shot like no video. No, I was so
my heart.
I was so
focused.
Yeah, you can't.
It's
when
tough.
when your deliverables are one of the other, like you just, I've done it both. Like for Goose, like I went on tour with them in Europe, and I was the videographer and photographer, but my main thing was like create a doc to like show off like what we're doing. And man, that is a lot of stress to balance those two things. I don't give a shit if you have two cameras, one set for photo, one set for video. Like you only get the one opportunity to catch the moment. And do you want it to be a photo or do you want it to be video? And like
the hardest decision.
It's a hard decision in the moment, and you kind of go with gut, but like photos end up taking a little bit of a back seat unless photos are what the deliverable is. So like, you got to just, you got to know you got to be mindful of what the deliverable is, and be a little heady about, your subject. If I'm doing photos, doesn't matter what song it is, video, it matters what song it is. So, you can play some games with different situations and be able to come away with everything, but you really need to like do some research and do your homework to do it. That is a really difficult thing to do, is split your brain and be in composition mode. And I only have like this one snapshot, and then capture a series of events in a video. It's like, it's not easy.
It's a wild chain of events how you got to Churchill though.
It was insane. And finally I made it into the animal thing, and like having that be a paying gig is like ridiculous.
Picking off another box. How long till you're playing in the band?
Jesus. They're on a rocket ship. It is absolutely amazing to be witnessing their rise.
Did you say you
Seeing
got
them in a little band, a little bar in Buffalo that, you know, holds 300 people, to seeing them, you know, playing Red Rocks is.
Do you think you teamed up at the ground floor?
It was the fuse was lit when I got on, but I mean, they were still playing bars, so like, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
pretty,
I mean, just about.
it's pretty much, yeah, pretty much the ground level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I like the mindset too of not going in being like, oh, this band's on the up, I got to get in.
Oh,
But being more your headspace, which is, this is a great band that I love. I'm going to do the amazing job at everything I do within this gig that'll only help their success
100%
as a team.
Yeah, just trying to be a part of the team. It's an
But just
infectious
framing of
thing
those two things is
with them
entirely
in particular.
You know what I mean?
Say that again. Sorry.
Just the framing of those two ways of thinking are entirely different, but substantial. I feel like in approach.
Yeah, with them, there's a big team, and wanting to be a part of the team to help the thing continue forward is very special.
Right.
Everything else is kind of like golf. You know, it's like I'm just sort of like trying to do the best I can.
That's golf. Yeah. So, I mean, just to conclude here, we've been on for about an hour. I think there's a few important parts. I think those of us who always say, like, I don't have enough time. I mean, hearing Mike's schedule in terms of he's a dad, he's a full-time engineer, he's working with Goose, he's flying to do wildlife, he's in the woods all the time, perfecting his craft. He's finding the time, whether it means you don't watch your football team, whether it means some things have to take a backseat, whether it means not using hashtags or creating poetic captions on Instagram, you know, just posting his photo, like whatever that means.
Captions
to save minutes, I think is an important sort of concept to understand. Like, there always is time if you really want to do it. I think knowing the competition that's out there is really important. Knowing that there is drive, knowing that certain doors, like, say yes to a lot of things, especially if you're passionate about it, because that's going to open up these relationships, you know. You did the cover for one of Goose's acoustic album, Murray Below's acoustic album, was Rick's dog. Rick's sister loved the photo, right? And wanted like all these little connections from all these skills that you start to put together in this pot. Learning how to fly a drone, that could be a whole nother episode, like how that became a thing. You put this all in a pot.
Yeah, let's talk about that one.
But it's the same sort of, it's the same vibe. You can say it in a minute, where it's like, he didn't want to rely on someone else to be able to do FPV drone. So he was like, I need to learn this myself, and did. And then that became like a huge thing that separated himself. So instead of just like looking at the stuff or saying that's pretty cool or that's neat, went and did it. Like, that's the thing. There's a lot of doing in Mike's world. There's a lot of doing versus posting. And I like that you said how Instagram is still very important. And we talk, you brought me back to that heyday, like when we were all talking and chatting and like trying things out, doing competitions, doing all this stuff. It was a very warm place to be. It was very fun. I don't know what's changed since then, but that was like that was an awesome wave that we caught at a really good time. We could have easily missed that wave. We caught a really good wave based on our connects. I give a lot of credit to Brett. He's like a social maniac and like gets people talking and connects people and networking, and just the avenues, the splinters from that spot. This podcast, your stuff with Goose, stuff that we've done together, Airbnb stuff. Like, there's been a ton of splinters or just tentacles that have reached out from that nucleus of us people that got together in the early stages, just trying to like figure it out. And it's pretty cool when you think back to whatever that was, how neat that was.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I thought polar bears, I immediately reached out to Jenny, and it's just like, it's crazy to have that connect, you know. It's just be like, oh yeah, I really want to do this. And I reached out to Brooke and Jenny, and it was just like immediate feedback. Oh, hey Nooch, how you been? Da, 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 da. Yeah, absolutely. You know, hit up Drew and get up there. It's amazing. You know, take this, take that. You know, it's just like such a resource that we put a lot of time in. Again, we put a lot of work into building that. I mean, we came up with graphics and made the connects and like came up with games and like we're traveling, and that was insane. Like, I don't know. It was a lot of fun, but we just, we were like 6 people that just were obsessed with photography and getting out there, and, you know, we shared that passion, and then we just made all these connects, and it was super, super valuable.
Definitely was.
And you're right. The biggest time saver is not captioning on Instagram. One word out and I'm back in the woods.
Yeah.
Deer.
I like how you don't discount it though. You give it its due credit, and
it has a place 100%.
Sometimes I can get a little bit negative on it, but it's looking at the view from this point where you can see people like missing the road, right? Like they're veering off into like an unpaved wooded road, and you're like, you missed the turn. Like you got to stay on the path. And I think it's too easy sometimes with these things to be like, I'm chasing the wrong jag in here for years. Like I'm just trying to figure out how to be famous on here. That's not, to me, that's not what you actually, I can't say it for everyone, but it's not what you actually want. I don't think.
I have 6,000 followers.
Yeah.
I don't, you show me 30,000 follower people, and I'm not sure I would switch positions with them. I would be shocked if I stumbled upon someone at 30 that I was like, ooh, I want to switch positions with them.
I would venture 100.
You know, I don't think so. So what does that mean? What does that tell you? I think that from my perspective, Instagram has its place, and it lives there for me. I don't let it drive my mood. I don't let it swallow up my time. I use it because I actually do enjoy it. I really enjoy our group, our circle of people being able to like show each other. It's like a little mini gallery in our pockets. And it's cool to be like, hey, check out this moment, without like, you'll get to it when you get to it. It's not as direct as a text, like you have to see this, but it's nice to put it up there and be like, oh shit, Aaron got a bear. That's fucking great. Like, I love that. Good for him. That kind of burns me a little bit. I'm going to go try and get a bear now. Lit a fire under me. Yeah. You know, it's like, I like that. I really enjoy that type of vibe with it, but I am not looking back like, ooh, did I break 200? Oh shit, I need, maybe if I create another account and then I like it, that'll give me a little more engagement and I can get over the 200. Like that. No.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yep. Not into it.
And that's been successful. So just another story from another person on the internets. Nice. So that's our conclusion. I think we appreciate your time, bud. Every once in a while, at this point, it's like, I wonder where he'll be next year. Like what story we're hearing next year.
I think he'll be in the band, but we'll see.
Get the fuck out. What episode is this?
242.
Oh, I think I've been on like the hundreds. Like I've been on like an even thing, I feel like.
You've been on episode 3? You've been on...
I think it was close to like 100, and then...
In the hundreds, and now you're in the 2s, so we'll have you back on in the 3s club.
In the 3s? All right, sounds good.
Why don't we'll have you on for episode 300? You can shave the beard, get super jacked, and you'll be like King Leonidas from 300.
Yeah. I'm down. Love it.
This is Sparta. Yeah, there you go. We'll have you kick Aaron into a pile of bear poo or something.
Yeah, fair enough.
That'd be a great reel to promote.
That would be a great reel. Just 5 seconds though, because I need that engagement.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I don't want people losing
You don't
interest.
make reels, huh?
No.
We didn't get into that. Is there a quick reason why you don't do that? Why don't you make reels of the things you like?
I just think it's a waste of time. I don't. I just don't. I don't find those like if there's a sick moment that I get of like an animal, like I'm in the photo mode. I'm not doing the video thing. Like it's just a different gear that I'd have to switch that I just don't really care about. And I don't really look at that stuff. That's not content I consume if I'm on Instagram. I'm like looking at your guys' stuff and like checking out like a cool like picture, and that's like, to me, that's the passion and that's the drive. So like I will do the one thing I will do is I'll do the video thing and do it as a story. And I really like, if I can, I do like to take the picture of the animal and then get it on my screen and show where I am when I took the picture. And if I can pan up to the animal or the a waterfall or whatever the feature of the photo is, I do like to give people a sense of where I'm at when I'm doing the thing, but I don't want to clutter my feed with it. I'm still someone who's like really likes the way a clean feed looks. I don't like the clutter. I don't like having a big bio. Like that shit, just like you have a big bio and then there's fewer rows. I think you can squeak a fourth row out of images if you don't have like a long-winded thing up top,
Yeah, no bio. So you have one reel. You have one reel.
Yeah, that was just a really cool moment, and I wasn't like, it was dark, and I was just like, this isn't, I don't know, I didn't really care about an image that time. I was actually shooting a video while I was there, so I was in video mode. That's why that happened. Yeah, now I'm remembering, I was shooting something for Goose in the woods, and I was on a gimbal, and I came across that kind of like, well, I'm not taking a picture, let's get a freaking video of him, and so that was on a gimbal, just like, oh, this is sick. He stood up. Yeah.
Gets off here, deletes it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Damn it. You found my weakness.
No, but it is a dedication to the craft that Mike is obsessed with, which is wildlife photography. And we talked about a few episodes where in order to video, you're missing photos. We just talked about it in this episode. Like it's one or the other. And if you decide to video and then show the photography, like you either are faking it and you're videoing at a different time, you're LARPing, or you are missing the better moment and you're getting like a secondary moment potentially, or you're not showing the best video moment, you're getting a secondary moment. So it's like, it's one or the other. And
it really is.
In a way, you have to choose what you're doing, but the combination of both, it's like, well, listen, I mean, to the extent that it is, it's like, well, you're not doing the best that you can at wildlife photography if you're trying to make content for video reels on Instagram.
And then you have to ask yourself, it's an investment, right? At that point, if you're really debating and fighting yourself internally about posting on social media and like, I want to grow my account, like all that stuff, then it's an investment. Which one's going to give you the bigger bang for the buck? And then that determines like what you really care about, right? You clearly don't care that much about photos. You care about Instagram and what the algorithm is making you, requiring you to output. And that's, to me, that's so fucked. Like that's just ridiculous.
Or you are someone who loves filming as much as someone who loves taking stills.
And that's fine, but you still have to choose.
I understand that. I just wanted to.
You still have to make the choice. So at some point, you're going to.
If you're choosing video over photo, it doesn't mean that you're obsessed with Instagram necessarily. Is all I'm saying.
If I have a moment with a fox, you have seconds usually with that fox. You have a couple of shutter snaps. If you have a camera that slaps, you've got maybe 3 shutters with that fox before it sees that you're there and is startled and it's out. So do you want, in that, if you have 3 seconds, do you want that to be video or do you want it to be a still? That's really what you have to ask yourself. And then that answers your question. What's that?
I think you just need a habituated fox.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Clearly. Yeah, that's
get your 100 photos on a tripod and then switch over to video.
I got to get the hot dog and the hot shoe. That's what I need.
Yeah, and the hot shoe.
Yeah. Dude, that shit, I just, so what are you doing? That's a whole nother episode, but it just really does burn me.
Yeah, so funny. For sure. That is a whole nother episode.
Like, what are you doing? What are you doing out there? Why are you doing it? You're doing it for the wrong reasons. If you need to bait an animal, you are just like,
Yep.
Like, how do you not want to research it and do the thing the right way? That feels so goddamn good. When you research the thing and you track the animal the right way and you're non-invasive and you get in there and you get your moment, there's no better feeling. What
Right.
other feeling are you chasing? What is it that you're chasing that you feel you need to bait an animal and cheat just to get a fucking picture? Like, what? I don't
Because
understand.
your head, I'm not defending this, by the way. Your headspace is the reward is in the effort, whereas the other practices, the reward is in the results.
Yeah, I don't know.
And there's a vast difference.
There's a vast
And I
difference.
think-
My brain only works the one way. It
And I
just I'm
think
in it for the I'm in it for the process because I love
think
the
the
process.
reward in the effort builds more skills.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
All day.
Because I can write an essay with ChatGPT, or I can learn words, and I can learn how to form sentences, and I can read books.
The sad thing is, at one point, it will be indistinguishable, and one will not be.
I
it'll be
understand that, but
that's the sad thing, and that's a whole nother thing too. Is like I'm sad that photography will not be as celebrated as it once was when this AI generator really takes over and it is indistinguishable, and it won't be as special for viewers, but I'll still love the process and I'll still do it because I love the process.
important.
Yep.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you
Thanks
in the
for having
300
me.
clubs.
Yeah. Take care, boys.
See ya.